Hey guys, welcome to Jeremy's Reviews and Opinions. My name is Jeremy. I got a really weird RWBY theory. And this one comes from volumes 1 through 3, watching all 3 volumes. If you watched the first video, episode 1, the pilot, Ruby Rose, yeah, I'm trying to think about the title. Ruby Rose. You see Torchwick robbing a dust shop. Now, we find out later throughout the series that dust shop is from dusk till dawn. And you see Ruby there. She's reading a weapons magazine. Now, the guy, and she's listening to music, got a hood on. Now, a guy tries to rob her. I'm sorry, I'm reliving this. But I just saw it, thought of the theory, and a few minutes ago. So this one's gonna be. I'm gonna title this episode is RWBY unexpectedly where she is. And you can see it throughout the series. You see it in twice in volume 3, once in volume 1. You don't really see it. Yeah, you see it again in volume 2. Volume 2 is where you see it again. Volume 2. Now, in volume 1, yeah, like I said, she's reading a weapons magazine. She's got her headphones on, listening to the theme song of the volume 1, essentially the intro song to volume 1, essentially. Which we know is sung by Casey Lee Williams. There's another guy there who made a theory. Just real quick shout out. I'll put his channel, the link to the video in the description below. He made a White Rose where Ruby's a fan of Weiss before she even met Weiss. So Weiss is singing, or so to speak. But back to my theory. Now she was unexpectedly from dusk till dawn. Torchwick didn't account for anyone being there. She's reading weapons magazine, and this guy tries to rob her. Well, first of all, she's reading weapons magazine. The guy comes up on her and sees that she's reading weapons magazine. He probably should have backed off, but seeing as a little girl, he expected her to not be so good with a weapon or not even have a weapon. Now, this is where my theory gets weird, because, well, let me finish the story first before my theory gets weird. She beats up all the Torchwick's hired men. They were hired from Junior, who we see in the yellow trailer, and then we see again in I just had the video in my head, and it's the one before Painting the Town. Yeah, he is in Painting the Town. It's the one. Yeah, he's in Painting the Town. Is one that he shows up in volume 2, where you see Ruby, and that's how guys, question in that episode. But back to volume 1, episode 1. She beats them all up, and then she's unexpectedly there. Torchwick did not account for anyone being there, so she's there. So that she has a vendetta or wants revenge on Torchwick, essentially. For robbing this dust store and attempting to rob her. Now, skip ahead to volume 2, Mountain Glen, where Ruby falls through after Weiss did his business. After Weiss did his business. And she said it was, well, real quick, he's out in the middle of wasteland, and he goes, pees, and she goes and chases after him. Weiss can't really take care of herself, she didn't need to worry about him, he would have come back. But if she hadn't have followed him, then she wouldn't have found the Fang, which, again, she's unaccounted for! They did not expect her to be there. Torchwick didn't expect her to be there, which caused him to move up the timetable of the train wreck. And I'm talking literal train wreck, not a physical train wreck. Not a mental train wreck, sorry. But a little train wreck, which caused, I think it caused Cinder to move up her timetable a bit too. Because you see how Emerald tells Mercury, that's days away. Cinder goes, we just keep to the schedule. So then they go and fight, so that suspicion is taken off of them. Well, they're the only, besides Sun and Neptune, they're the only non-Beacon people fighting that you see. That they show you the only non-Beacon people you see. Team Coffee, Team Juniper, Team RWBY, Sun, Neptune, Cinder, what's his name? I just said it and I forgot it. Mercury and Emerald. You see those four. You see those. You don't see anyone else, so most likely no one else knows that's at the school. Now, she was on. Now, all Team RWBY was accounted for, and they really did mess things up from Cinder's team's point of view, from Emerald's point of view, which in my view, did cause them to move their timetable at the Vital Fest, which meant that they had to get Mercury and Yang together, or whoever fought Mercury, to get one last hit on him, which would just then disqualify him. But I think Yang was just another unexpected person pick. Now, the last fight at the Vital Fest that we see before everything goes grim. Sorry for the pun, just had to. Before everything goes grim, is Penny versus Pyrrha. Now, then you see Cinder taunting the headmasters and the people watching. She taunts them with her little speech. She taunts them, which she did have access before to during the Deltron. So my thought is that she did plan for Yang to fight Mercury and for Pyrrha to fight Penny. Now, another point where just RWBY herself is unaccounted for. In Volume 3 is, this is unaccounted for. I forget which one it is. I think it's PvP, or is it the one after? I forget now. But it's where she goes into the maintenance hall, and she sees Mercury. Well, after she sees Emerald, and Emerald then sees her. So she's unexpectedly there. Well, then I think she just accidentally went in to get away from it all, and she sees Mercury there. She sees Mercury, and she starts to put the pieces together in her head. Well, she's unexpectedly there, but she doesn't tell anyone else about it because she can't. I mean, her school's busted. It doesn't tell anyone else that's there fighting the Nevermore in the Coliseum, because they're so busy fighting the Nevermore. Now, this is probably the last instance where she is unexpectedly there. The top of the tower, right when Cinder kills Pyrrha. Right when Pyrrha died, you see RWBY activate her silver eyes. Not planned or at all. And this is how I figured out how she activated her silver eyes. This is how I figured it out. She had lost Yang's arm. Yang had lost her arm, so she's got a lot of stuff from there. I forgot who she lost. She lost someone else before that, but I forgot who it was. She lost Pyrrha, and most of her team was beaten. She hadn't seen Blake as she's stabbed, I think, or just sliced, or got like a very bad paper cut, essentially, from Adam Torres' sword. Now, she's got so much sadness in her that when Pyrrha died, that she just went into a complete meltdown. She's unexpectedly there. She freezes probably one of the toughest Grimm out there. The toughest Grimm kills a whole bunch more Grimm around the school. Cinder, she loses her ability to speak. Volume 4, she's working to get that back. She talks in like she's really, really hoarse. Cinder loses her eye. So now Salem has a personal vendetta against RWBY, the girl with the silver eyes, so to speak. Now, this is kind of hard for me to grasp a little bit too. But when Tyrion was fighting against RWBY, he didn't expect Crow. I know this is another unexpected tangent, but I'm supposed to talk about Ruby being unexpectedly there. Which did form the series itself. Formed the series. It formed the backstory of Ruby. Now, Ruby was also, this is another one. This is in one of the trailers. I just remember this one. At the end of the yellow trailer, Yang's trailer, at the very end, you see Ruby there. And you see her talking to Yang after Yang threw Junior out the window. I just remember that. Now, she could have been following her sister. I don't know what she was doing or what. But she could have been following her sister. She could have been looking for her sister to ask her something, you know. I don't really know. But that's all the unexpected instances that I have found. Unexpectedly. She's unexpectedly there. They did not expect her. They did not expect her at the dust shop. Yang didn't expect her at the club or outside the club. Yang didn't expect her outside the club. And now going to the greater picture, just volumes 1 through 3. The greater picture, volumes 1 through 3. The greater picture. If you think about it, the greater picture is and this is gonna be weird. And I have figured this one out. Is that she was unexpectedly at the dust shop at Mountain Glen. They didn't expect anyone to be at Mountain Glen, which is why they set up there. Abandoned and all this. Well, they didn't realize that they were attracting Grimm to that spot, which then led them there. They didn't think too far ahead, which forced them. They didn't expect Team RWBY to be there, which forced them to move their timetable. Well, it forced Roman Torchwick to move up his timetable. I don't think it affected Cinder at all. I think she still had her plan in place. But I think it affected Roman. So, and then she's unexpectedly at the Coliseum in the maintenance hallway. They did not expect her there. Okay, yeah. Now I just remembered. She had lost Penny, and then she had Yang lose her arm. Then she had Blake with her injury to her side, which you don't see any evidence in Volume 4, because you see where she's let's say that this is her body, okay? Like, this is her head, this is her feet. This is her waist right here. She was sliced right about here, I'm guessing. I'm looking at my camera right now, so I'm not really noticing it. No, well, yeah, I think it's right here, on her waist. You look at Volume 4, there's no scar, meaning that the cut wasn't deep enough to scar her. It was just deep enough to cause her pain. Agonizing pain. Which is literally the worst thing you can do to a person. Now, and then she lost Pyrrha. So she's lost Penny, Yang's arm, Blake's injured. So she's got a lot of sadness from these three. It's then built up so much when Pyrrha died. That when Pyrrha died, she just lost it. She couldn't handle it anymore, and she didn't know that she could use her silver eyes. She didn't know the history, how to use it or anything. And that in that episode, you see Crow explaining to her the silver eyes, kind of what they do essentially. I know I'm going on another tangent, but this is important. This is somewhat important to RWBY unexpectedly being there. Now, the deal is that RWBY's unexpectedly at four places in volumes 1 through 3. You got the 3, 4. Yeah, it's 3. It's the dust shop, the maintenance hall, and the top of the tower. And Mercury kind of screwed up. No, Emerald kind of screwed up, and so did Mercury on their part for actually being at the Coliseum where RWBY could see them. But RWBY saw straight across the Coliseum, where if you're looking from her and even with the camera, she couldn't have been able to tell. Which means she has to have extremely good eyesight, or she's just one of the people that easily picks people she knows out of a crowd of 1,000 people across a room 100 feet away. I'm kind of sort of that way. I am, but I also look at every detail of the people. I like to know a lot of details of stuff for some reason. It's a mental thing. But Emerald, she didn't actually screw. I think she was meant to be there, but she didn't expect RWBY to see her point blank just by scanning. And you see Emerald's reaction. She's like, "What? She sees me?" She's sitting like right on like the bottom, like right up against the wall to the stand on the stand, right up against that wall. That if you just went over that wall, if you just went over, if you went over that wall, you would get into the arena itself. So she's right there, right at the face of the action, so she can easily control what people are seeing. Now, for those of you who don't know, her semblance is she can change what people are seeing, not what they're thinking, but what they see. And you see that in Volume 3, with the fight against Amber the Full Maiden, Yang's fight, and Pierre's fight. 3 times she's already used her semblance. And then you see it again in Volume 4. Now, I don't know if the Grim during Cinder's training, were from Salem or Emerald. But I do know that at episode 12, No Safe Haven, at the very end, like towards the end where Ruby's writing her letter to Yang and her dad, that you see Emerald do this, and she's trying to get a focused image of Ruby. Now, sorry about another tangent, but it's kind of important to the theory. They're kind of important to the theory. She's trying to do that. Now, my question is, and this is probably just under the theory, but it's going to be like a very short one, and I'm probably just going to say it right now. How could she have a current image of Ruby, unless she's going based on what Tyrion said? Now, from my knowledge, she has to have an image, she has to see it, or know, or put it together in her head before it actually can be activated in her semblance. From my knowledge, that's what I've known. I don't know if she can pull live feeds or something and change how it looks. Like, she can pull like live feeds of what they're wearing, what they're looking like currently, but she can change how they're positioned and stuff. Now back to my theory. I just covered 2 of the 4 instances I have counted. 4 if you want to count the Emerald instance. But the Mercury one, Mercury did screw up there. He did screw up. He should have not gone out into plain view of Ruby. Which then caused her to start putting the pieces together. And when he said polarity versus metal, she's like, no, she tries to assemble it in. I think he can see speed very well. And because he kicked her right, I think it was in the head or the gut like Tyrion, kicked her in the gut like Tyrion did. But it might have been like that because she was in the spindle form. Was what I call her whirlwind form. I think it was called her whirlwind form. She's going fast enough where she'll turn into a whirlwind. She'll start just spinning like a tornado, but sideways. And now Neptune did not Neptune. Neptune didn't screw up at all during what I'm talking about. Mercury. Sorry, I get the names mixed up. I do it all the time with people anyway. He did mess up by going out there to meet Ruby for a fight, knowing he knew he could easily beat her, and she knew he could easily beat her. But without her scythe, she is defenseless, and you see it in Mountain Glen. You see it where she's fighting Roman Torchwick, where she's attacking him, trying to headbutt him, and he's just moving just out of the way, hitting her with a cane, and tells her, you're much easier to use with that oversized guarding tool. Meaning that and you see it there, without her weapon, she is defenseless. She cannot fight. Now, that's another unexpected distance. I think I skipped over that one. But in Mountain Glen, she's unexpectedly there, because I don't even think she wanted to go drop down in that hole. Now, she could have easily moved out of the way of that hole, but she didn't. But I think she was more shocked than anything else. She's more shocked, okay? Because she didn't know that the southeast corner of Vale was full of caves and tunnels. Now, the thing is that the White Fang Finder, almost as soon as she drops down, so either they heard something on that stairwell while they were going down, and that stairwell that they went into leads down to that point, or splits and heads down to that point and heads to 2 different places. Now, my guess is that they were part of the way down, right at the fork where they had it, and they heard something fall. They went to go investigate, and found her. Or another. But sorry, this is probably another tangent, but it's probably more applicable to my theory than I'm thinking. Trying to think of how to put this. Or Roman heard the fall, since they're in a cave, echoes. So he hears it and goes ask him check it out. Now the problem is that with that is that he couldn't have heard her, because when Weiss with the rest when everyone else blows in, they blow a hole. You don't hear the echo at all. So the abilities either dampen the sound, or either the abilities dampen the sound, or the echo was further away. But usually with an echo, you can hear it very well. You can hear it the second it happens. The second it happens, you hear that echo. And it doesn't matter how quiet the echo is, you can still hear it. If you think about it, everything we do has an echo, but certain places have it worse than others. Now, my first part where they heard her fall down and they were on the stairs heading back down to their hideout after patrol is more applicable. I think is more applicable than Torchwick hearing it and asking him to check it out, like he did with the explosion, getting into the caves at Mountain Glen, where Mountain Glen final resting place, the world's largest tomb. Now that did cause him to move his timetable, because you hear one of the White Fangs grunts. That's what they called him in the credits. I'm going off the credits name right now. You hear him say, "We're not ready yet," meaning the White Fang hasn't gotten together to leave. Meaning they're moving the time schedule up so much that they're unprepared. My guess is that they had probably one more car for explosives to get ready before they left. Then RWBY and her team unexpectedly showed up. Well, there you go. So she's unexpectedly there, which can be a good thing for her, bad thing for Roman. See, bad luck is happening to Roman Torchwick. She's also, just remember this one. It's during the fight on one of Iowin's airships, the one that I think it's Blue 3, the one that Roman took over. She is unexpectedly there too, if you think about it. Because she takes a rocket-propelled locker, flies over the ship, drops down onto the ship. Now, how could she know that was the ship that she needed to be on? How could she? Then he tells Neo to go look at it. Go check it out. She sends him a picture of RWBY and says, "Guess who?" He's like, "Oh, come on! When is she going to stop being here? When am I going to have to stop worrying about her being where I'm at? When am I going to actually start planning for her to be there?" I mean, if I were him and I would plan even in Mountain Glen, I would prepare to be days ahead of schedule. No matter what. I would plan to be days ahead. That's just me. That is me. I would have planned, if I'm running something like that, I would have planned to be days ahead. Now, the thing is that at the top of the tower, she wasn't planned to be there. She wasn't expected. She didn't even plan to be there. It's something that actually wound up happening because of Jean. Something happened and Cinder didn't account for, was Jean leaving, which then changed her plans. Slightly changed her plans. Enough to where she couldn't fight RWBY because of the Maiden's powers. She was easily fighting Pyrrha, but as you hear Cinder saying in Volume 4, Episode 1, the next step, you hear her say when and I forget his name right now. I'll forget his name. I'll probably remember it after I get to make the video. He goes, Cinder, he was bad-mouthing Cinder because she didn't take care of the girl with the silver eyes. Well, as soon as she got up there, she saw Pyrrha die and melt away, which didn't give enough time for Cinder to see her. because she was too busy focused on Pyrrha and her dying to get the rest of her fall main powers. So she didn't expect Ruby to be there. Well, by the time Ruby got there, Pyrrha wasn't hit with the yet. She just started to disintegrate. She started losing her life. Well, once she did, and then you hear Ruby shout Pyrrha, and it's just so long and drawn out that it echoes throughout the rest of. I mean, I think they expected it to be. I mean, you hear like the last syllable of Pyrrha's name drawn out for like 4 seconds. That's how bad Ruby. That's how bad it is. And then you hear Crow. I think this is Ruby, her subconscious. We're listening to her subconscious now. We hear Crow. We hear, yeah, it's Crow. And I think Ty. I think her dad Ty. I think those are the 2 people we hear. Her dad, Crow, and Ty. Those are the 2 we got. We have. So I'm guessing we're listening to her subconscious at this point. Sorry about this tangent, but I think it's applicable to my theory. I think it is. If you don't, let me know in the comments below. If I left something out, let me know in the comments below. That's about all I can think of right now. This theory, sorry about it being so long and drawn out. I just get real built up about the series. I mean, I've only been watching it since about October of last year, which means about 3 or 4 episodes into Volume 4. No, it was 3 episodes. It was 3 episodes in. Because I remember Volume 4, Episode 4. I was waiting for it to come out on YouTube. That's how much I wanted to see it. So I watched the first 3 of that, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm out of episodes to watch. And finally the episode got put out, and I watched it. And then I finally got Rooster Teeth first account, so now I watched them as soon as they came out on Rooster Teeth. Because I was checking Rooster Teeth every single week for a new episode. So I'm done here. I'm tired of talking. I got some more stuff to record. Quick sellout moment. If you like the video, hit the like button down below. If you're new, please subscribe. And hit the bell down there for notifications, because YouTube subscription feeds are just so horrible. I've had problems with them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.